You're ready.
Okay. You're not unmuted. All right, good afternoon. Notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, being held today, Thursday, February 22nd, 2024, at 6:30 PM at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. You could join us at the Zoom meeting provided in the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary in person at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting, or by emailing or calling the city secretary or at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting. Written comments received at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting will be provided to city council for consideration. Madam Secretary, may I have a call to order, please?
Yes.
Oh, time is now 6:34 PM. We are in session. May I have a
Pro
call?
Tem
to-
Alvarado. Here. Alderman Coffendacker.
Here.
Alderman Rapino.
Here.
Alderman Fillinger.
Here.
For the city attorney and city secretary, and at the moment, Alderwoman Martinez is not here, but she's on the way.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair.
Citizens to be heard. Persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner as indicated above. This time is provided for the citizens to address the city council on issues and concerns related to the city of Sandy Oaks. Please note that the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the city council from responding, commenting, or discussing items or topics during the portion of the meeting that are not included on the agenda. The city council appreciates hearing from the citizens, and your thoughts and questions are valued. However, civility and a sense of decorum will be strictly followed. All speakers must address their comments to the city council. Speakers shall refrain from public criticism of members of the city council that is prohibited by law. This item will be open for up to 30 minutes with 3 minutes to each speaker. One person may speak on behalf of a group. Up to 3 people may register on behalf of the group in order for the spokesperson to be allotted up to 9 minutes to speak. If there are more than 10 speakers, each will be given 2 minutes or 6 minutes for a group spokesperson. I believe we do have one person signed up to speak. That is Mr. David Tremblay. At this moment, can you please silence your cell phones?
Yeah, I was trying to.
All right, Mr. Tremblay, it's 6:36, sir. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I would just like to address the ordinance that is being considered for amendment tonight, the animal control ordinance. Although I have not read it, I just have some concerns that should be addressed when you get to that point. First being the workload of the animal control officer at this point is already excessive. Don't know that we should be burdening her, or even if you get another individual, with the responsibility of inspecting goat pens, picking up goats in the street and what have you. Also, I believe if it was a majority vote taken within the city, the majority of the people would be against having goats in their neighbor's yard. The other thing that I would ask is that there be a second reading on this, so that we do have an option. That citizens would have the option of reading through that ordinance before it's passed. I know it was mentioned it was a 40-page document. It's just a lot to absorb. Even I know there's not a lot of people here listening in, not a lot of people Zoom in, but in order to look at the actual ordinance, I think some people may take advantage of that fact. So that's what my input is, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Tremblay. Ma'am, are there any other people signed up to speak?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you. All right, guys, moving on to agenda item 4. Mayor and Administrator announcements. So as you see outside, we do have some construction on our parking lot. Finally, it's moving along, so that's gonna be a good time for us, but please pardon our dust while they are constructing and tearing up the roads up there. It's gonna be messy. It's gonna interfere with municipal court because we're gonna have construction during that time, so just be patient with us, whoever is listening in the internet. But it's gonna be for the better, and it's just gonna be a whole lot easier to navigate around here. That's not gonna be a single lane road. So that's all I got to have on, all I have to add on that.
What's our completion time, sir?
I think they said it's about 2 months, maybe a little sooner, depending on weather, but since we're coming in, thing is with spring,
Early spring.
yeah, with spring, I mean, it could bring some showers soon, so that was with some timeline adjustments, so hopefully sooner. Second item I want to bring up, and which we'll address at a later date, but I was told by 3 children in attendance a few weeks ago that we do not honor the Texas flag by saying the Texas Pledge of Allegiance. And so I'm going to try to incorporate that into the next couple of meetings. So I'll have a flyer out. So if you want to say the Texas flag, the allegiance to Texas flag, that way you can follow along. And I think that's all I have for announcements today.
Would you like to talk about those parts we got up here at City Hall?
That's a good point. Yeah, we did, and I know there's been a public post about that. But we did receive the brush collection dates and bulk pickup dates from Waste Connections. They are in the lobby for pickup. No, you're fine. You're fine. They are available for pickup. If you reach out, I can try to coordinate and have them delivered. So just let me know if you do need some and you're not able to come in and pick them up. We'll try to bring you some. I'll try to bring you some. Okay, I think at that point, that's all the announcements that I have. All right, moving on to agenda item 5, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. In the consent agenda, we do have our minutes from the February 8th regular City Council meeting. I guess that's it.
We don't, I didn't.
They're not there? They're not, okay. All right, those are not ready, so we will pull that item and move on to the next item. So moving on to agenda item number 6, discuss and or possible action on ordinance number 2024-236, amending ordinance number 2022-196 regarding animal control regulations. Alderman Fillinger, did you want to start talking through that?
May I first ask who did not bring their coffee?
Didn't bring it.
Anyone else have a coffee?
I didn't bring mine, but
No.
the counselor gave me hers, so I'm good.
Two,
Unless she wants hers.
I don't need a copy of it right now. I did sit and read all. 40
would you
pages.
like a copy, Mr. Rookie?
No, but Cassandra gave me hers unless she wants it back.
I'm gonna use the, what I
Okay,
don't know.
we're good.
Okay, well, we've had this ordinance for a couple of weeks in front of us, so I hope everybody read it. The copy we have is redlined and basically in the introductory matter, as city council finds it necessary to amend ordinance 2022-196 to provide for fees related to animal control adopted by the city council during its annual review of the city fee schedule, according to ordinance number 2024-233. An addendum or additional heading is the city council has heard the request of certain citizens to allow the keeping of certain small livestock within the city of Sandy Oaks for purposes of providing food, dairy products, companionship, homestead products such as soap and wool. City council desires to amend ordinance 2023-196 to regulate the keeping of certain small livestock. There was a citizen came in and spoke to council, about goats. I have been contacted by about 30 people that were interested enough to come to meetings about their desires and such. Rest of it's pretty much regular stuff. Turning to page 2, we see under definitions, we're adding a few items. Animal neglect is a new definition. And the definition is failure of an owner, caretaker, or custodian of an animal to provide proper food, water, veterinary care, shelter, and socialization. We did not define animal neglect in the last ordinance. If you don't define it, you can't charge it. The alternate charge is animal cruelty, and people that have been involved with the animal care. A charge of animal cruelty is a Class B misdemeanor and has to go to county or district court. We can't process it in our court. The downside is we have to maintain custody and care of the animal until the court settles the matter. By charging a lesser charge of animal neglect, it can go to our municipal court and we can get it settled in less than, how long we have been done? 7 months.
So that's misdemeanor C.
So misdemeanor C, yes. Okay. Going on down, authorized city representative, that any city employee or an elected or appointed city official. And the reason for this is, as Mr. Tremblay addressed, the animal control officer is busy. But by having everybody as an authorized representative, if she gets an application for a livestock permit, a facility permit, she can call me or you, and we can address that matter as an authorized city representative. As we go on, some of the people wish to form a humane society, and we may be able to use them as a inspecting authorized representative. Moving to page 3, we redefined collar to adjusted from just dogs and cats to goats and sheep also. Lower in page 3, fee schedule is defined as the ordinance enacted by city council as may be amended, which sets forth the standard fees and costs imposed by the city. Any reference to fee schedule means the current, most recently enacted version of the fee schedule. Rather than calling out fees within this ordinance, we refer it to the fee schedule, so we don't have to change this ordinance.
Every time.
Every time something changes, it will go to the fee schedule, which we have to review annually anyway. Going to page 4. Harness is a set of straps constructed of nylon, leather, or similar material, specially designed to retain or control. And prior, it was a dog, and we struck a dog and inserted an animal. Dogs are not the only animals that can be altered. So further on page 4, permitted small livestock means a member of the genus Capra Linnaeus, goats, and genus Ovis aries sheep of the animal family Bovidae. That's the changes in definitions that, if adopted, would take place. Page number 6. Animal nuisance regulations. A4. The keeping of any animal defined as livestock. And I have inserted other than permitted small livestock under this ordinance in any of the residential areas of the city limits. And on page 8, we start going through the small animal regulations. And I'm not gonna read all this. I'm hoping everybody read it
Yeah.
and open for discussion by other council members.
Go ahead, Sarge.
I have three different things I'd like to point out on this.
Okay,
One, whenever it comes to anything of livestock, small animal livestock. We've seen already in the community that people are not doing well at taking care of their dogs. They let them roam, let them run. I hear a lot of people telling me they're being dumped. I equate that to small animal livestock as well. What are we going to do when people's goats get out? Now, when I say that, it sounds silly. I know. But one, we don't have shelter for these animals, whether they be goats, chickens, pigs, turtles, whatever. So we're not established for that yet. Number two, what happens if,
Can,
I'm going to give you multiple things to,
sir, and I'm old and frail. Let's address one item at a time, please.
Okay.
Okay, would you restate your point number 1?
number one, the first point. We have no way of sheltering any livestock in the city of Sandy Oaks. Absolutely no way. We do have sheltering for dogs, but not for the goats, chickens, turtles, whatever. So that's a future expense.
Okay, may I address
Number
that?
two.
Because if we're gonna do points, let's get to the point at a time.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. We do have a livestock treasurer and the county has livestock facilities. And in fact, the county is responsible for roaming livestock. So actually livestock is easier to handle than dogs are. Because we have no one we can pass a dog on to.
Okay.
If we get a sheep or a goat or and quite honestly, we have had pigs and goats in the facility back there before, and we have dealt with them. If we capture a registered goat and a legal goat or sheep will be microchipped and registered with the city, we will notify the owner and assess them the fees that we decide are appropriate. If it's not a microchipped animal, then it's roaming livestock and we can turn it over to the county. Or you can bring it to me and I'll turn it into Cabrito.
So are we going to
Point
start?
2?
Okay, hold on.
I'm
Hold on, Terry. Hold on. I want to address one point. So can you, and I'm not saying this in any way, shape or form, but can you tell me why when we've had 2 pigs in shelter, why the county didn't take them?
If you load them up and take them to the county, they'll take them.
County just has enough stringents on themselves as well. Since we are our own municipality, it is our responsibility.
Okay.
County's not gonna take responsibility for our stuff. We've been through that. I tried to push it because we are our own municipality. We deal with it.
Yes.
So that means any livestock, the
The
county
law,
will
the
take.
real world, the reality, county operates by a different entity and they're not gonna, unless it's something out of the ordinary, they're
Yep.
not gonna assume responsibility for our.
Takes them to the auction. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Back
Okay,
when,
back point two,
Hold on, I have a comment.
yes.
On the, you said, so now we know that county will not shelter them. And if they're illegal, we can't have, well, we're gonna have a problem there. So if they're legal and they're microchips, so we are holding them until they pick them up somewhere.
There are.
they're legal.
Fees, yes, ma'am.
So where will we keep them in the meantime while we're waiting for them to come pick it up? After we
If you-
notify them that
if you
we,
Go to receive, it can be in the backyard. It can be in my backyard.
in your backyard, okay.
You bring it to my house.
Okay.
I'll
We'll-
take
we'll
it
know
out
that.
and
Okay.
foster the animal
Okay,
until the owners are notified. Pay the fees or we'll
Okay.
turn it into cabrito.
well, I mean, you might have, 2 or 3 of them, 4 or 5 of them, so, I mean, if it's your
I
house.
have
it's
3/4 acre.
Not my
Ma'am,
house.
I can stake out 6 goats with no issue.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, depending on the square footage, right?
I have 3/4 of an acre. I can check.
Okay, okay, but
Oh.
if they're illegal, county will not shelter. Well, I mean,
So we
we'll
don't
have a
care.
problem.
That, then it's not a problem. If nobody steps up to claim them, we take them to the auction.
Okay,
We sell them to a legal goat owner here in town and let them microchip it.
Mhm. Okay, two.
any other comments on Terry's point one? All right, moving on
so
to
I
point
take it
two.
that right now what we're looking at is we're gonna brush over the idea that we don't have any established shelters for livestock.
We're not, it's been noted.
Okay, it goes in them Alderman Fellinger's backyard.
Number 2.
No.
Next point.
It's not a
Yeah,
solution.
it's not viable.
No, it's not a viable solution. I absolutely agree. That's why I bring it back.
Okay,
The fines that we have listed in the fee schedule is $50 for people with anyhow. I think it needs to go higher for livestock.
Sir,
Hear me out. Because it takes a lot more work to catch livestock. And I don't mean as in a single employee or 2 employees. I believe the last thing was, I know I helped at capturing some cattle out on Priest Road.
Mm.
We were using motorcycles and about 5 people. I didn't know who the cattle were. It was before I even came to sit at this table. I know that we've had larger animals throughout the community like that. Whenever these things do happen, now we're also looking, and this brings up a third point. Not only should the fee be higher, and I would recommend 250 minimum. Not only that, but it also brings up health and safety of the employees of the city that have to go out here and capture these animals. And now you were saying that we as elected officials and people that are appointed, you put that we could go out there and do this as well. Well, who's going to cover my medical expenses if I get hurt? If a city employee gets hurt, they're covered
Mhm.
through the city insurance that they have. But if one of us is elected officials, does our personal insurance cover us or do they tell us to take a fine? I don't know.
so I think,
So I'm looking at the health and safety aspect.
No.
I'm looking at the cost of multiple people being out there trying to help. Because the welfare of our employees is very important too.
so I
We
want to.
worked hard to get our employees.
I agree. I want to address point two, and I think this is where Charles is going to go with it, is that we can amend the fee schedule as needed. If we, once we move to that point, is that, okay, and so so yes, it can be addressed, it can be adjusted. So I'm not disregarding your point,
No,
but that's
no, no.
another point to be
That's-
discussed when we can get to when we get to the schedule. So let's move on to the third one, which I think is an excellent point. Yeah, I don't know how many of us are going to be chasing pigs and horses.
Is
and-
that
and
number
cows.
3 or is still
That
number
was
2?
point three.
Oh,
Point
number
3 has to
three.
do with the health and safety of the.
Okay, I got
Of the
it.
elected officials that would
Okay,
have, that would,
noted.
Because how many times is it that not only have we had to have an animal control officer out there trying to capture an animal, but now I do believe our DPW employee has helped out a lot.
Yeah.
Her crew has helped out a lot at the
Police.
same time.
Mhm.
Chief of police, other officers. And now all of a sudden we've got multiple officers off duty. We have DPW not doing their job anymore. Because everybody's trying to help out one person. Which we know it's not gonna happen even with 1 or 2. When was the last time we all went chicken chasing as a kid? It doesn't happen easily, and our moms and dads used to enjoy making us go out catch chickens because it was fun to watch us race them. When was the last time you've been out pig chasing? As a kid, it was a blast. As an adult, I hurt sometimes just waking up. My body says, no, you're not 29, your mind's lying to you.
So
okay,
not
So-
only are we addressing the fines, right, because of that issue of taking a We're also, addressing the liability on
The city,
non-paid employee, officials.
well, not just the liability of it, but the health and welfare of the paid employees that we do have. If their duties all of a sudden have them out there chasing pork chop or
Mhm.
prime rib, whatever you want to call it,
Okay,
or tenderloin. Ooh, bacon. That came to mind.
Okay, so we do have any other points to be made for or against this ordinance? Now,
I would like to say
sure,
just a couple things.
sure.
Yeah, we've already addressed pigs, we've already addressed ponies, horses, cattle, and goats. The issue's already in front of us. We deal with these things already. Okay? And my personal opinion is it's not gonna go away. Having this ordinance, we have a means to address it and address additional fees. And, you know, I promised people I would present this to council, didn't promise them it was gonna pass, didn't promise them it was gonna be what we had discussed in our public meetings. I think, well, I know that there are goats in the city right now.
Mhm,
Hear one
mhm.
from a few houses down.
I hear a donkey.
But ignoring the issue doesn't make it go away. I think this is a vehicle where we can regulate the matter and organize it to where we can deal with it. But that's only my opinion.
That brings about another question.
Hang on. So, Tom, go ahead.
I think it's regulated already by prohibiting it. And I think that if we, by just sweeping it under the rug, it's like, okay. I think that this is an issue that really the full population of the city needs to decide, because some people are vehemently opposed to having livestock in the city. And so, as you heard Mr. Tremblay talking earlier, I think, and I don't know how to do it. I mean, we can't have a referendum on it, but.
So I think one way that we can address it, right, is to realize where we're short, where we have shortcomings. And that is a lack of a code enforcement officer and a lack of a second animal control officer, full-time animal control officer at that. And I think at those two times when we have those fully staffed members, full staff members, could we be able to bring to the table the opportunity to bring in livestock, legally bring in livestock and regulate them and measure pens and count animals and get that in front of people and find them when they're not being responsible owners. Right now, we're doing just the job to find what is falling out, right? It's by exception based only. By opening up the door, you've allowed them to bring everything that they want in, again, to the specs of the ordinance, but then we're still going to be behind the ball going out and measuring and controlling and maintaining and siting and housing and so on and so forth. So I think until we can have a fully staffed crew, which is again an ordinance officer, a two animal control officers, 3 people that are really there for the same almost purpose, then I think at that point we could really address legalizing the presence of livestock in the
So
city.
what you're saying is that we're just not ready for this. yet.
That's my opinion, yes,
I have one other part to add to this.
yes.
Because this is a very touchy situation within the community. I do not think that we, as a city council, should have the final say. If anything, yes, I believe this should go in front of the voters. Once everything is in place. Once we have the personnel in place. Once we have the shelter in place. Let the people of the city at an election time say yay or nay on it. And I say this because I don't think, how many people did you say was able to come see you up there,
30.
Alderman Fellinger?
About 30 people.
Okay, 30, that's what, maybe 10% of our community?
No.
No,
Not even a scratch,
Not
right?
even a scratch.
That's like 1%.
that's,
I don't feel comfortable or correct in taking action on something where we've only heard from maybe 1% of the community. That's me.
That's 0%, sir.
It's not even 1%.
Not even.
Not even 1%, sir. It's about a 0.5% of people.
Okay, so you can see where I'm sitting there.
However, comma, how many people showed up specifically for your car show?
I never counted them, sir.
Okay.
We did have.
How
quite a
many
few.
people show up for a public hearing?
Well, let's take it even further back. How many showed up to make Sandy Oaks? 94. I think that was the number of voters that voted for.
Less than 100, that's
Yep.
correct. Okay.
So I mean,
But
your participation number, while it is a valid point, historically, that's actually pretty good, right? That's 1/3 of the people that voted to make the Sandy Oaks.
and let's
But the
go
population
ahead
breaks down.
let's go ahead and address that.
Yep.
Okay, in a presidential election year, about 75% of our voters turn out. Okay, in a non-presidential election year, we've been as low as 15% of people show up. Oh, and by the way,
Oh, sorry.
I have not had an opponent since 2019, so we have very low citizen participation.
Yep.
And I also wish to address Mr. Rapinoe's point that we can regulate by prohibition. That didn't work back in the 30s. It didn't work in the 60s, and it doesn't work today. Drugs are prohibited. Illegal immigration are prohibited.
All right, let's.
Driving drunk's prohibited. I'm just saying prohibition is,
So why don't we just, make murder legal and make.
Oh, come on now.
All right, guys, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
I,
Call to order, call to order. Where's my gavel? Okay, so,
I think Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado had her hand raised. a minute ago.
I read all
Sure.
additional 5 pages that was added to the ordinance. It's 30 some odd pages of ordinance, and we added 5.5. They're very well written and they're adequate, but at this point in time, I believe that we shouldn't. I oppose it. I know that it would be responsible to bring in additional animals or allow additional animals, and you say that there's probably already animals in there. We haven't even addressed that. And to your point, last meeting, you said that we were non-compliant in the animal shelter that we have now.
that's correct.
Okay, so there's so many issues that the city has not addressed. We're not in a position to take on more ordinances or widen the ordinances to allow more and deal with additional citizens and court fines and registry. And this would be an undue strain on the one animal control officer that we have. One, she has to keep up with the paperwork as it is. We haven't even had a handle on the animal control. And we're gonna bring in livestock that she needs to say, are they in compliant? Have they registered it? Who's gonna monitor it? Who's gonna track it? Do they have enough size room for what they have? What if they have babies? Do we know that they have babies? Now they need more land. So that's undue stress on her.
Yep.
And there's no way she's gonna be able to even start monitoring that because she's barely getting to the animal control. The animals, the dog and cat population here is ridiculous. And I think the citizens that oppose it would would say, it's irresponsible for us to take on something like this when we can't even control what we have. And get into compliance in every other aspect that we have. There's other issues that need to be dealt with, and this just throws more fire and more fuel on the fire. We cannot handle this. I oppose it, for the record.
Is that a
Okay.
motion?
Then,
That's
but-
opposition for the record.
here we go.
Mhm.
We can either have a motion to not adopt the ordinance, or we can have a motion to strike certain portions.
I'd like to make a motion.
And I have
He has the
before,
floor.
sir,
Sorry.
we can postpone any action on it. There are additional matters in here that we have not looked at yet.
Well, I would,
But
sorry.
if you want to make a motion that we not consider the ordinance as presented, make
yeah, I
that
don't think,
motion.
yeah, I make a motion that we don't consider it at all. I don't think we're in a position, I believe we're years
Even the other,
before, I'm sorry.
even the other.
Oh, I know that I checked off the ones that we're adding. The
So,
one for the fee schedule.
right, so
So mainly is the 5.5 pages to allow livestock, and then, and where it says here, the third,
So you're
On the
making a
first
motion
page.
Not to consider the ordinance at all?
yeah,
well,
because, well, hang on, time out. So what we
Yeah.
could do, right, we could go by line
Mhm.
and say, I make a motion to strike this, I make a motion to
Mhm.
approve this.
because I checked the ones that
Or,
you're okay with.
or we could make a motion to take this back. Let's rework it to what we think is a presentable, viable, ordinance,
That's the sensible thing.
and then we bring it back and we vote on that. Right?
Yeah.
So we,
Yeah, there are some items that need to be in here, you know,
Yes.
like the fee schedule,
I agree.
like the
The definition.
definition.
Yep.
Hold on here. Yeah, and we don't even have software to track all this. I mean, it would be impossible for her to keep track of. There's a designation of local rabies control authority. That's the chief of police. Now he's in charge of that too. So, you know, there's things that. I mean, we just need more personnel. I mean, we can't do it without, it would be undue stress on our animal control department. It's ridiculous. I mean, as it is, we,
Okay.
So Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado, what is your motion?
my motion is to bring it back. We'll correct it, add what we want to, or what do you suggest? I know it's in.
I'm gonna
it's a
make
lot.
it simple. Okay. If you wish, you can move to strike section 4,
Yeah,
paragraph D,
the details on that.
F, C,
Mhm.
or let's make it easier.
I like,
D through K, strike articles D through K of section 4.
mhm. Because that deals with the livestock. Mhm. So for the first motion would be to strike items D through K.
I think B, was B included? B and then D through K? Is that what you said?
D,
I thought,
I think it needs to
Oh.
see.
I thought
yeah.
it said B and then D through K,
so many.
is what I heard.
No, D through
D
K.
through.
But what about C?
What about-
C is the keeping of livestock.
What about the first page where it says that the citizens, to allow keeping a certain small livestock?
How about you make a motion that we not consider it, you know,
Okay.
present an amended ordinance.
So when council consider or adopted the fee schedule, it could come back with that ordinance just regarding the fee schedule. And then some of the definitions that are included.
Because there's so many, okay, so then the motion would be to bring it back.
I think that's the best option because there's so many things. If we don't want to decide it here, it needs to be looked at in depth and then bring it back. So,
Or clean it up.
Yes. And,
And bring
and
it back.
I haven't heard a motion yet.
I
Okay,
said,
Yeah.
may I present a motion?
Well, I have a motion for from Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado to table this until the next meeting.
table it. Table it till the next meeting. I make a motion to table.
Ma'am, sir,
I'll second the motion.
sir.
yes.
Yeah.
We don't table, we postpone.
That's what I thought.
Okay,
The motion would be to postpone.
Yes.
Make it that way, please.
Yes, I'm making a motion to postpone the ordinance for livestock.
I'll
till the next
second.
meeting.
okay, I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado to postpone ordinance number 2024-236, amending ordinance number 2022-196, and a second from Alderman Rapino. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
What about the fee schedule? Are we going to?
Did you say aye?
Hmm.
He didn't say aye.
Yeah.
You do have to do a recorded vote, sir? No?
Did you ask for any input?
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Sir,
Do we have to get a recorded vote?
I don't think we need a recorded vote.
We do have a quorum, so,
Maybe you have a quorum.
okay. It is your public duty to vote when required, though, sir.
Okay. I recuse myself on the grounds that I'm emotionally involved.
Okay, understood, sir. Understood. All right, moving on to the next item.
Not for the record. Are we joking or that's the record?
He
No,
recused
that's the
himself.
record. I recuse myself.
Yep.
For what?
Into being what, emotional?
Yes.
Emotional?
All right, moving on to number 7, administration, new business, discuss under possible action on an ordinance establishing the Animal Control Advisory Committee and possible amendments to the ordinance establishing the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee. Okay, and it looks like that one is 2024-237. Is that right? Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it said.
Establishing the animal control advisory.
that's 7A, correct? Yeah.
235.
235.
Well, mine is written 237.
That's-
Oh, gotcha. Understood, 235. Yep.
If I may address.
Yes, sir.
I spoke at our last council meeting regarding the combining of the animal shelter facility committee and the animal control advisory committee. We combined the duties of both committees into one, and for 364 days, there has not been a meeting or any input from either committee or the combined committee to the council. I'm recommending that we adopt the ordinance creating an animal control advisory committee so that citizens will have a direct route to address that committee and let the committee advise the city on moving forward.
I disagree with it, and I'll tell you why. The city has had an animal control committee in the past. It's gotten rid of it. The city does have direct contact to the city council. We hear it every time we open a meeting. People are allowed to call in, show up, say whatever they gotta say. Plus, for the duties of what's described, general duties of the committee, to advise the city council on establishing, planning, and development of an animal control program. Well, we have that already taken care of through the ACO, chief of police. These things have already been done. Advise the city council on enforcement and all state and local laws related to the care. Once again, our ACO has this job. We pay somebody to do that already. And the chief of police. Make recommendations to the city council on any amendments, revisions, or updates to ordinance resolutions related to animal control. As I said just a few moments ago, we already have personnel in place doing this. Assist in the cleaning, assessment, maintenance, monitoring of equipment and supplies. Well, we do need volunteers to help out our animal control, our ACO. But they don't need to be on a committee to do it. We just need citizens to step up and say, please come help our animal control out. Because working in our shelter is not easy. Having one person, and I know she gets help from other city members. When I say city members, employees that come in on weekends to feed the critters that we got and clean up everything. Any other duties as prescribed by the chair of the committee or city council. So we can make some more stuff up and give them more duties to do instead. But to me, it adds bureaucracy that is not needed, is what I'm getting at. It's adding another level of government that is not needed between the citizens and this community. It's not needed according to legislation. It's just something that somebody came up with years ago when the city was started. The Animal Shelter Committee, yes, we do need that. I agree, nothing's happened with it. We have nobody stepping forward to be a part of it. But to be a part of the Animal Control Committee, they really have no control over anything. It is a meeting to bolster, from what it sounds like, to say, I did something, but it will fall on deaf ears most likely.
There was no participation either.
Well, how many people actually showed up? Because I remember you said,
Two.
there you go. So I don't see the purpose of this animal control ordinance to have an animal control committee.
Okay. Alderman Fillinger, do we have anybody that is, do you have any recommendations for this advisory committee?
I have two people that are interested.
Citizens or
Yeah,
Alderman?
citizens.
Citizens, okay.
And I don't feel really strongly about this, but I do feel really strongly about this should not be combined with the animal shelter facility committee,
Which is
required by law.
which is where we need the vet.
And where we need the vet, and we need desperately to contract with a vet, not ask him to volunteer. Okay, as near as I know. And no, let's.
Yeah, and that's,
finish this
yeah,
out.
you're right, and that's not related. Okay, Debbie, you wanna, I'm sorry, Alderwoman Martinez. Do you have any comments?
No, I'm good.
Alderman Rapino?
I agree that we shouldn't have the committee. Of course, we need
Shelter.
the shelter.
Yeah, I agree.
And we have to work on compliance, so I think our efforts should be more on that. Because we've seen this not,
Yeah, that's,
you know,
I'm all.
It doesn't work.
Well, quite honestly, for a number of years, it was actually fairly active.
mhm.
We had a active feral cat trap, neuter, spay
Mhm.
program going.
Honestly, that was not the city doing that.
Excuse me?
It was really not the city doing that. It was volunteers and using the. city
Individual.
name.
It
you know.
was volunteers that
Mhm.
worked with the committee though,
Mhm.
until we had a falling out of
Falling out.
personality.
Mhm.
Ego becomes more important than the mission.
Mhm. And to that point, those people would not volunteer again. Or you have a few that coming back.
I believe the motion, well, actually, there's not a motion.
No,
Mr. Alderman Coppendapper, would you care to make a motion?
Yes, sir.
Hang on, before you make a motion, I do want to say that I do agree. I do like the idea again of separating the two only because we have people interested in it. It is another level of bureaucracy. It is another way to add more people to the equation. But this also puts an already disengaged city back in the forefront, right? Back in the weeds. And maybe it turns something into great and maybe it doesn't, right? But I think we also gotta give it a chance for the people that do want to participate.
Make a motion then. That we disregard this ordinance. Am I using the right verbiage?
No, sir.
Give me the proper verbiage, sir.
Mhm.
It's not
Or make a
disregard,
motion,
it's,
or make a motion.
Yeah, you can move to,
Postpone.
you can move to postpone, you can move to not consider.
I'd make a motion that we postpone this indefinitely.
Which one?
The one that we're working on, the,
235?
235.
235.
And postpone means indefinitely means that it can be brought back at any point in time.
If somebody wishes to, yes,
If that's your motion, then
that's my motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so I got a motion from Alderman Coffindaffer and a second from Alderman Rapino to postpone ordinance number 2024-235 indefinitely. All those in favor say aye.
I,
All those opposed? Thank you. All right, moving along to 7B. Discuss and or possible actions on recommending and appointing 2 open planning and zoning commission positions. So as you were informed, in the last P and Z meeting, we had 2 people that were not in attendance, and they did that 3 times in a row. And unfortunately, we do have to vacate those positions. So I did assign a little bit of homework on Monday morning. Think so. And so hopefully we do have some recommendations on some folks that can get involved. It's up for discussion.
okay, sir, I'd like to call on the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission and see if she has recommendations.
Yes, sir, I do.
Sure.
Can I?
Now you can, yes.
Laura Bali and Johnny Rios. They're citizens, property owners, registered voters. I know them personally. I've known them for a while now personally. I think they can bring stability for one and liability for 2 and knowledge.
Or Laura Bali, B-A-L-I.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry.
B-A-L-L-I? Yeah.
I think I know how to spell Rios.
I didn't get the first one.
Johnny, right?
Johnny.
Johnny Rios. All right, does anybody else have any recommendations? All right, well, we do have some candidates based off of the recommendation of the P and Z chair. We could take a motion to appoint them.
I'll make a motion that we, appoint.
Yeah, excuse me, sir.
Go ahead.
Do we know which positions are vacant and which years they will be
There's 1 and 2 years.
Installed for.
Yeah.
installed for?
Mhm.
Which places?
The positions and when they're up.
Oh, I thought you
Mhm.
had said a number. Okay.
Mhm.
Is it 1 or 2 years?
I'm checking.
And I don't want to shut down the process. We can appoint and determine
Afterwards,
at the next meeting, which positions and terms.
Mhm.
It is P and Z member number 2,
Number 2.
and number 4.
2 and 4.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just make a motion to, to nominate, what is it?
Appoint.
Appoint, is it appoint?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. I'll make a motion to appoint Laura, is it Biella?
By
By-
Valley.
Biella?
Bye.
Bai and Johnny Rios to the Planning and Zoning, Committee.
Okay, so I have a,
To,
Position.
positions 2 and 4.
so Laura to 2.
Laura to 2 and Johnny to 4.
I'll second that.
All right, so I have a motion from Alderman Rapino and a second from Alderwoman Martinez to appoint Laura Bailly to P and Z position number 2 and Johnny Rios to P and Z position number 4. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you and welcome.
Were those the only two positions open, sir?
That is correct. There's a 90-day project that we're working on, so welcome to it. All right, moving on to item number C, discuss and or possible action to update the purchased vehicle for the police department from a previously approved new vehicle to a used vehicle. So in previous weeks, I think it was October of last year, September, we agreed to purchase a 2024 vehicle for the Sandy Oaks Police Department. Unfortunately, Ford Motor Company has been notoriously behind schedule and has kicked the can as long as they could. We do have a good working relationship with Asia Motors, and they were able to provide us a low mileage 2020 Ford Explorer Police Interceptor Edition. And so basically, I just want to bring this to the table to renegotiate the purchase from a used vehicle, from a new vehicle to a used vehicle.
Mr. Mayor,
Is there a, I'm sorry,
could you state how many miles are on that now?
25,000,
23.
23,000.
Do we have final price?
that's what I was gonna ask. Do we
Yeah,
have,
without,
how much?
34,000?
34?
Plus the destination,
So
34,000
it was 34 total.
total with shipping. Okay.
So do we need a quote invoice or? Because compared to the
How much
previous,
did we approve for the previous vehicle?
50,000.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sorry,
That's an issue there.
great.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve the purchase of a used vehicle not to exceed $35,000 using the funding previously set aside for the new vehicle.
I'll second.
Okay,
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger. And a second from Alderman Rapino.
we
To,
tried
I
already.
know, right? It's been a long week. To approve the purchase of a 2020 Ford Explorer with an NTE of $35,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
Moves into item number 8 to adjourn, sir.
That is approved. The time is 7:31. We are adjourned.